Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the craziest 90s urban myths. These are urban myths that every 90s and 2000s child we're talking about all around the world. You're talking everything from aliens reproducing to Marilyn Manson's ribs, all the way to Pokémon conspiracy theories. So grab yourself a can of Surge, pause your VHS, and let's jump in. We're going to start with probably the most iconic 90s urban myth ever, and that is the fact that Marilyn Manson had 2 ribs removed in order to please himself before he went onto a rock concert. Now, the reason why this one is so iconic is because Marilyn Manson was such a quirky and unique character. It stuck. And not only this rumor spread all the way to America, Europe, Australia, Asia, without any form of social media. And then you need to think about how insane that is. Yes, we had some chat rooms, but social media as it is today was nowhere near the same. So this spread via word of mouth all around the world. Now, obviously this rumor was not true. This rumor started actually in the 80s with David Bowie, moved over to Prince, but Marilyn Manson made it stick due to how quirky and unique of a character he actually was. Pop Rocks and Coca-Cola would make your stomach explode. Pop Rocks and Coke was seen as a lethal combination back in the 90s, and someone added the next twist, that is Mikey from Live Cereal actually passed away from consuming Pop Rocks and Coca-Cola. Now this might sound crazy now, but back in the 90s and 2000s that stuck. People genuinely believed that Mikey from the Live Cereal advert actually passed away from consuming Pop Rocks and Coca-Cola. Now, I even remember having Pop Rocks in the 90s, and I even remember being daring enough to have Pop Rocks and just swigging it down with some Coke, thinking, I wonder what's going to happen. Most of my friends did, and obviously nothing happened. But Pop Rocks, Coca-Cola, what a lethal combination that was back in the 90s. Now, this one really got me as a 90s kid, and that is if you moved the truck via the SS and on Pokémon Red and Blue, you could unlock Mew. Now, as someone who's a massive Mew fan, and just a Pokemon fan in general, as you can see, I've got the cards here, Bulbasaur in the background. I spent hours and hours and hours trying to, if not days, trying to find Mew and trying to move that truck. Now, obviously nothing appeared. And it was really probably the most greatest rumors that somebody had ever spread, because again, this went all around the world without the use of social media, but probably the most disappointing one as someone who was an avid Pokemon player in the 90s and 2000s. Now, I did get a Mew on the Game Boy. In the UK, I had to go to a place called Knutsford. They had a Pokemon store there, and I think I had to pay like £4 or £5 to put Mew onto the game, because they actually did that at some point later on down the line. But yes, that was one which was a massive rumor, massive lie, which most 90s and 2000s kids also fell for. This next one's a little wild. It's that Furbys could talk to each other, they were listening to us, and they could learn English. Now, my brother had a Furby in the 90s and early 2000s. The only thing it did was scare the absolute shit out of us when it started waking up in the middle of the night and talking. It was absolutely insane, and no one knew how to stop it. That's why it was so crazy. Now, obviously, Furbys were programmed to speak multiple languages, so of course they could learn English. Were they talking to each other? Were they listening to us? I don't think so. But just to be sure, we used to stick them in the drawer, stick them in the bathroom, were anywhere away from us on sleepovers, and we'd whisper so that they couldn't hear all our plans. The Lion King spelt sex in the sky. Now, if you've seen the Lion King movie, you've definitely paused your VHS on this scene here, and you squinted your eyes to see if it actually spelled sex. Now, there were some amazing Disney movies in the 90s and 2000s made, and we were convinced there were hidden messages in every single movie, and we used to look out for them all the time. Were you someone who saw sex in this scene? This is one of the greatest 90s urban myths ever, and that is if you put a pink and a green alien into the fridge for 24 hours, a little baby alien would appear. Now, everyone at school either claimed that their alien had a baby, had a friend or a cousin, or knew someone whose alien did have a baby, yet obviously there was zero evidence at all. Now, what actually happened was it was a big blob of cold, horrible slime, but our imaginations did the rest. If you cross your eyes, they would stick like that, or if you did what Eyelid Kid did here, your eyelids would stay like that. That, by the way, is insane, and we all had friends who could do it. I was one of those who could never actually do that to my eyes. Now, our parents actually just told us this because they wanted us to stop crossing our eyes. There's no truth behind it whatsoever, and most of us actually survived. But they always told this story about one kid whose eye was cross-eyed and said that's because they crossed their eyes. Absolutely horrible when you look back at it, but that was the reality as to why they told us this. McDonald's burgers were made out of worm meat. Now, this is another playground classic where we genuinely believed that McDonald's compressed worms, made them into patties, and served them to us. So every time anyone took a bite out of a Big Mac, you would hear, "I think I just swallowed a worm." Listening to your CDs too much would wear them out. Now, we actually treated our CDs like they were ancient artifacts in the 90s and 2000s. That was until you lent one to your friend who brought it back all scratch. We all had a friend like that. But yeah, apparently listening to them or playing the game too much on the PlayStation would wear them out, give them scratches, and break the CD. It was a complete myth, but it made us treat our CDs with extra caution and extra care. Y2K. As we approached the year 2000, people genuinely believed it would be the end of the world as we know it, that technology was going to take over, and it'd be like a scene from Mr. Robot. People believed that planes were going to fall from skies, that our data would be breached, and that technology would basically take over the whole world. Some people actually believed that the world was going to end, it was going to explode, and we were not going to survive another day. Now, some people actually made an absolute fortune from Y2K proofing people's desktops, laptops, and mobile devices. Looking back, what a money spinner that was for someone. Absolutely insane. Now, obviously, we're in the year 2025 now. Y2K had no effects whatsoever, and we lived to tell the tale. If you swallow gum, it stays in your stomach for 7 years. Now, this was just another fear-mongering tactic from our parents to ensure that we did not swallow our Hubba Bubba. The reality is, whilst it probably isn't the best for you, it definitely did not stay in your stomach for 7 years. But we all had that fright that when we actually accidentally swallowed our chewing gum, that was be stuck there for 7 years. One of the darkest 90s theories was the fact that people genuinely believed that the Rugrats were all dead and that they were living out their imaginary afterlife. It got to the point where even our parents stopped us from watching Rugrats for a time when this rumor was spreading. People genuinely believed this, obviously one which is not true. If you wee in the swimming pool, your urine will turn blue. Another conspiracy theory created by our parents to encourage us to get out of the pool, go to the toilet, then jump back in. Now, this was actually meant to make pools cleaner. However, most kids actually try to wee just to catch a glimpse of the blue, just to see if what they said was actually true, meaning that you were swimming around everyone's wee. Gross, I know. This is another 90s urban myth that some people still believe to be true to this day. And that is, if you put on the interior light in your car, your parents would be arrested. It was against the law, and we used to tiptoe around cars like we were secret agents to ensure that that light never went on. Now, I actually realised when I was 12 years old that this wasn't actually true, because one of my friends, in response to him arguing with his dad in the car on a car journey, turned on the light, expecting him to be arrested, and obviously that didn't happen. But I know some people today still believe this to be true. They still believe this to be against the law. Now, it's come full circle for me because I've got 2 children, and my 4-year-old tried to put the light on in the car the other day. I went, no, son, that is against the law, and daddy will be arrested. This one's got generations to go yet, but obviously it's a big fat lie. Eating red M&Ms caused cancer. Now, this is a horrific rumor for somebody to have spread because cancer is a serious thing. But in the 90s, we would genuinely believe that if you ate red M&Ms, they could cause, mutate, and spread cancer around your body. Now, pretty sure looking back, it was probably sort of parents overreacting to all the food dyes that we were consuming because, being frank, they were pretty bad back then. But still, to spread a rumor like that, whoever started it, that's a really bad one to start. Sitting too close to the TV would make you blind or make your eyes square. Now, our parents never missed an opportunity to tell us that if we're sitting too close to the TV, it would make us blind or make us need glasses, which is what square means. The irony is, my mum was around a few months ago and she was on her iPhone like this, sitting really closely to it. I went, Mum, not too close to the screen there. Your eyes are going square. It was a full circle moment. It was amazing. But the reality is, we never listened. TV was life back in the 90s and 2000s, and we sat as close as we wanted to. If you ate a watermelon seed, a watermelon will grow in your stomach, or if you ate an apple seed, an apple tree will grow out of your stomach. It was human agriculture at its finest. And we made sure that we did not eat any of the seeds. The odd ones slipped down and we literally lived in fear and we were waiting for that tree or that watermelon to grow in our stomachs. I think this one's for the UK, but if you're in the US watch this video, please tell me if you guys do this in the US as well. If you walk over 3 grids, it is bad luck. 2 grids is good luck, 1 grid doesn't matter. But we believed and we were told in the 90s, if you walked over 3 grids, it was bad luck. In the US, do you guys do that too? Or is it just for us folks in the UK? Do you remember those colourful iMacs? The most iconic iMac ever created, the ones in all our computer rooms, and the ones that we would really like Apple to bring back. And Apple, if anyone ever watched this from that company, please bring them back. The back of those were actually made out of edible plastic. That was the rumour which spread around every playground around the world. Now, obviously, it wasn't made out of edible plastic, but we knew people who tried to take a bite out of it. But thankfully, no plastic was harmed in the making of this video. Sunny D was incredibly popular in the 90s and 2000s. It was so popular that so had to create a rumour that if you drank too much of it, you would turn orange. Thinking back, it was probably our parents who created another myth for us because of the huge cost of Sunny D. Only the rich kids had it where I lived. But the rumour spread again all around the world that if you drank too much Sunny D, that you would turn orange. And we all knew someone who'd actually turned orange as well. Of course we did. We're going to wrap this video today by going through the rest of the list. And I'd love to get your thoughts and comments below. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment with your experiences of all these 90s urban myths. Now, please bear with me because I am reading through a list here. So you've got Bloody Mary appears if you say her name in the mirror. That one is pretty iconic. Tamagotchis were spying devices. The Simpsons predicted everything, which I think they pretty much did in fairness. The Bermuda Triangle instantly sank planes and ships. The Goosebumps books were cursed. Aliens with a duck tube just slept near the window. AOL chat rooms were full of hackers stealing your life. If you step on your crack, it breaks your mum's back. That's still played today, to be fair. Licking Pokemon cards made them shinier, which I'd not actually heard that one before, by the way, before I made this list. So if you've done that, let me know. Eating crust made your hair curly. Sleeping after eating caused nightmares. Doing exercise after eating made your stomach cramp up. All those good ones. And there's one which wasn't on the list, which I think is just massive, that we just haven't seen the sighting of in 20 odd years, and that was Bigfoot. Bigfoot was everywhere in the 90s. He was sighted everywhere, and now he's not been seen in a very long time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share your experiences of your urban myths from the 90s and early 2000s.